Good afternoon, colleagues. I have the pleasure of delivering the statement and holding this stakeout as part of the mission's effort in engaging with all of you here and answering any questions that you may have. As Syria reopens the world to the world, it's also key that we reopen to the press corps here. There are two main points that I will focus on today. As you've seen, the Security Council adopted last evening a press statement on Syria. All council members unanimously affirmed in their statement their commitment to the unity, sovereignty, territorial integrity of Syria, as well as their support for the Syrian government. And there were a series of welcomes in there, including the welcome for their efforts in counterterrorism, its immediate and decisive action to secure and manage prisons that contain elements of the terrorist organization Daesh, the camps that includes families, women, and children associated with those elements. And the statement also welcomed the implementation of the integration agreement and the extension of the Syrian government control over all its territory. It further welcomed the decree number 13 by His Excellency President Ahmed al-Shara in a separate context to guarantee the rights of the Syrian Kurds after decades of injustice, deprivation, and marginalization. Syria welcomes this statement as it shows what Syria is doing despite numerous challenges, and we extend our appreciation to the mission of the United States, which acted as the penholder for this process, as well as the sincere thanks to the mission of Bahrain, the Arab member of the Council. Second, as you know, the Council held this morning its monthly meeting on Syria, and I'm sure those of you who have followed have also heard that members of the Council unanimously also affirmed their support for Syria, shedding light on the opportunities and the challenges. This consensus comes as a result of the achievements being realized by Syria on the ground in all fields. As you heard in my statement today, I wanted to highlight some achievements, including those when it comes to security and the stability, the implementation of the integration agreement with the SDF, the signing of economic agreements with multiple countries, the opening of the book fair, of the International Book Fair of Damascus, our work on combating drugs and terrorism, and the collaboration with the United States. All steps that the Syrian government have started to undertake to really build a Syria that is worthy for its people. In conclusion, Syria looks forward to the continuation of its constructive cooperation with the United Nations and all the international partners in a manner that supports our efforts aimed at guaranteeing the rights of all Syrians without any discrimination or exception, and building the prosperous and developed Syria worthy of really the immense sacrifices made by the Syrian people throughout the years of the revolution and the years of the dictatorship. I'm open to a few questions.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you so
Please.
much
For
this briefing. Namo Abdullah with Ruda Media Network. We've seen some images from Munich. Some people call them historic. General Muslim with Foreign Minister Shibani, and on one side having a meeting with Secretary Rubio. Can you tell us any more details about that meeting, and how was General Muslim invited to that conference? And two more quick questions about the agreement with SDF. We don't know much about the details. Like, for example, there will be 4 brigades for SDF, I think. Will any of them be the Kurdish female fighters, any of those brigades? And the last one on Kobani, I know OCHA noted some progress has been made. When will all the services be restored? Thank you so much.
Sure. So on Munich, it was a historic moment indeed, and it's Syria as it should be. One delegation of all its components engaging, and the picture that a colleague is referring to, it was Secretary Rubio. I just spoke to colleagues in Munich, and they said the meeting was very productive, and it was a big moment for all of us. As you've seen, the delegation is comprised of numerous individuals where relevant different parts attend the meetings, and obviously the meeting with the United States, the issue of the integration was relevant, and that's why General Mazloum and Ilham Ahmed were also present to the right side of Minister Shebani, who led the delegation and the meeting. My understanding also in terms of substance that it went incredibly well. When it comes to the brigades and those details, these are obviously details that need to be continuously fleshed out. But what we're very keen on and very happy to see is that that's done through dialogue and through engagements. You've seen a number of engagements that happen in different parts, a number of meetings. The press stakeouts that my colleagues do and colleagues of the SDF do, like this one, tend to signal that things are going in the right directions. Of course, none of these questions are easy questions, but as long as the intention is there, as long as these questions are divorced of issues of rights or divorced of issues of territorial integrity, and we agree on those things, then everything can be kind of ironed out and fleshed out. When it comes to Kobani, as you know, within days, I mean, and that was the quickest possible way. We have organized, as much as we can, the convoys of the United Nations and tried to resume the services as much as we can. You've heard in the Council today that these services have resumed as a result of now things calming down, and we look forward to really that all the services resume as quick as possible. Every civilian in Syria deserves a dignified living on this.
تفضل. ممكن باللغة العربية نعرف موقف الحكومة السورية تماما بالنسبة للوضع في السويداء، ولكن هل هناك أي تحرك دبلوماسي أو أي تطورات على المستوى الدبلوماسي لحل الوضع في السويداء؟
I'll answer the question in English if that's okay. So the question is on Sueda. As you've said, the government's position has been absolutely clear. We had a roadmap that was referred to by the Arab group today, which included elements of accountability for any crimes that were committed, issues when it comes to the detainees and the missing. So these are all things we want to address. We have seen some movement on this, from individuals within Sueda who refuse to be held hostage by a foreign nation or by individuals who claim allegiances to foreign nations, and they make it absolutely clear that Sueda is an integral part of Syria. We've seen a statement that was circulated by a number of individuals from inside Sueda that say, we need accountability, we need restoration of services, but Sueda belongs to Syria. The government will remain open, we will engage. We've always said that, we're very saddened by what happened in Sueda, and we've taken full responsibility in trying to address what really can happen forward. Please. I'll get to you in a second.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. The UN Office of Counterterrorism issued a report this week in which it said that your government foiled 5 assassination attempts against the President, the Interior Minister, and the Foreign Minister. What is the government's reaction to the fact that there were 5 assassination attempts in 2025, and what's it doing to try and eliminate that in 2026?
Thank you for your question. Indeed, there has been multiple assassination attempts on President Shara and high-ranking members of cabinet. The good news is that they were foiled. That means our security services were aware of them and managed to deal with them. But that shows that President Shara, there was a part of that report that said it very clearly, remains one of the key targets of ISIS in that sense. And that shows that this government, led by President Shara, has been fighting ISIS for a very long time, but also after becoming the president of Syria, continuation of that fight, and now we're doing it as Syria becomes part of the international coalition and with international allies. The fight against ISIS continues in military ways, in security ways, but also we need to work, and as I mentioned today, on issues that fight extremism in terms of economic support, educational support, giving alternatives to young men and women on this. So we see the fight against extremism and ISIS as multifaceted, and we will continue to do what we can. But this report was a proof that this government is really on the forefront of fighting ISIS to really counter some of the disinformation that was going around recklessly on this topic. Thank you very much.
Just a quick follow-up. Is the government convinced that all 5 of these attacks were perpetrated by ISIS, and have any of the perpetrators been captured?
I can't go to the details of what the security arrangements were, but yes, we were convinced that they were all by ISIS. Please, your team.
I was going to ask you, can you identify or the groups that are supporting the terrorists that remain in your country? In other words, countries that might be feeding into them and supporting?
I mean, we hope that there's no countries that are supporting different terrorist organizations. Everyone is committed to a united Syria, or at least so they say. So we're going to work with all member states and allies that are working closely with us to make sure that no one provides support to any group in Syria, because Syria's stability really is in the interest of everyone in the region and beyond.
Where would they have gotten their weapons from?
The ISIS fighters. I mean, Syria has been undergoing a conflict for many years. Non-state actors and terrorist organizations have their ways in getting access to weapons and resources. But we're working with our partners to ensure that these all dry out. At the same time, in parallel, dealing with all the root causes of extremism at the same time. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you very much.